was one of my
So what are you
darker
into?
days. Right now, I just bought a baseball team. I just bought part of a baseball team.
Which one?
I don't know if I can put it out yet.
Okay, no worries.
We're waiting on the press run.
I got you.
I own a restaurant, and it's called Medusa. Check it out. It's in New York City. Really dope. There's a number 1 rated restaurant in 2024.
What type of food?
Mediterranean.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you ever heard of Toca Madera, it's part of the same chain.
Okay.
You probably haven't. It's one in Arizona, one in L.A.
Okay.
I mean, the list can go on from Starface to Goat Fuel. Oh, shout out to Goat Fuel. They're a part of that too. What else? What else am I in? I should have a list.
Where did it all come from? Like, I mean, most guys when
Trying
they're
to be
playing
a billionaire,
football,
man. You got to be like.
you got the bigger picture, right?
Yeah, this is a long mission. Now I'm in real estate. Yeah, I just moved out to Houston. We're about to take over.
And you're obviously looking at football after football. I mean, life after football already, because most guys are so consumed by it. But you're using this as an opportunity to.
Yeah, there's no life after. That's the thing. There's no like, oh, this is my plan B, or this is my plan A, and if plan A doesn't work out, I'm gonna do plan B. Not like these are all plan A's.
How big of a challenge is it? Because you also have to balance an NFL career, right?
I mean, I don't play video games. I don't watch TV. I don't. Like I just don't waste time. I know that sounds like I do waste time with like things that aren't a waste of time, right? Spending time with family, resting, taking care of my body. But like there are a lot of things that we as, I don't know if Americans are the word or if humans are the word, but like we spend a lot of idle time, where we're not really getting stuff done. We're kind of just consuming. So for me, I realized, in college you're either selling or you're consuming. And for me, I want to be a seller. I don't want to be a consumer.
What's the biggest thing that excites you out of all your projects?
Real estate.
Yeah.
I think, there are a lot of things that people from the outside in don't understand. Even me, I didn't understand. Just as far as like a permit. Like you can turn dirt into anything with the right permit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also there's a lot of political game in it. So, I think me wanting to have an impact in communities, right? I think politics is a part of that, and also a part of real estate, and also a part of helping people and things like that. So, yeah, it's a long journey, but I think with the right people in place, I can get a lot of things done, and a lot of people can get a lot of things done without having to give all of their time to it.
How much? And this is a tough question. I'm trying to figure out the right word for it, but you got to trust people because you got to trust people making business decisions. You got to, because you hear all these stories about athletes that have tried these commercial endeavors and they wind up in real bad shape financially. How much of a factor does that come in?
Well, I think it's all education. I think that's where I differ from a lot of athletes. Is a lot of athletes, they allow people to do these things for them without learning the education themselves. So for me, every partnership that I have, it's a apprenticeship as well, right? Where if I'm joining a financial team, that financial team is also going to teach me the ins and outs of what they're doing, right? If I'm joining real estate, if I'm going to invest with somebody, they're going to also teach me the game so that I understand it. If I'm doing in the restaurant business, if I'm in any business I'm in, I make sure that I make it clear that I want to learn as much as I want to invest or, give my marketing time or whatever.
I think you made a great point there, because it's one thing handing over money to people and allowing them to make these decisions, but the more you learn, the more capable you are eventually of making those decisions.
I've spent my vacation painting walls and putting floors down, right? Like I've been doing that for the last 3 weeks. Why? Just because I want to, because I want to learn how to do it. Like how can't nowadays, how many men can build their own house?
So when you're talking commercial, you're talking about buying houses, doing the rentals, and flipping them for the most part?
Yeah.
There's a story of a guy that played in Canada, and you'll love this story. He was a punter with Winnipeg. His name was Bob Cameron, and what he did is he bought 2 houses in the off-season, low residential, low money, reno it, flip it, and the guy just made, at the end, it was ridiculous how much he could.
And it's not just flipping, but it's keeping. How much ownership, and that's the key. Like if you don't like the way something is being ran, own it. Yeah. And for me, I realized that early, and that's kind of all I'm focused on.
Kayvon Thibodeaux is our guest, outstanding defensive lineman with the New York Giants, 3 years in the league. How much different is the Kayvon Thibodeaux now, both on and off the field, compared to the guy who was a rookie coming in?
I never changed. I think I just grew. I think, now the journey, I'm more blessed with the journey. As you get older, well, when you are young, you don't have an understanding for all the adversity and all the trials and tribulations that are actually out there, right? Like when you get drafted, you think your career is going to be, you think you get the Aaron Donald where you get 10 years, 10 Pro Bowls, and everything's going to be great. You think you're not going to get hurt. You think you're not going to get old. You think you're not going to get tired. You have all these expectations for yourself. And as you start to get older, you start to appreciate and have awareness for the moments you're in. So I feel like now I'm at a point where I'm more aware of each moment that I'm in, and I'm in and able to appreciate it and maximize it, right? Like for me, I interpret humility as being aware of the human, right? Like you can't supersede us all being human, right? And that means being able to understand that these moments are valuable even in this conversation, right? Because I'll never, it'll be next year by the time I see you again. I'll never have this opportunity again.
Unless you come to Seattle.
Unless I come to Seattle, So for me, it's just making the most out of every opportunity and understanding that, we try to recreate the moments, but they get shorter and shorter as time goes on.
It's interesting when I've talked to a lot of athletes over the years, there's this one common theme that I get from especially the veteran players. They say that, your athleticism is here, and I'm using my hand like two elevators, and one elevator's at the top. Your athleticism is there, and then your knowledge of the game might be a little lower. He says, but eventually those elevators,
they switch.
You know what I mean? But that's the thing. You're learning the game, and I thought it's really fascinating the fact that you study chess and you use chess on the football field, and I think to myself, man, I go, that's just like the great. And I used to coach D-line in Canada at UBC, University of British Columbia, and that's what it is. I mean, you're using it's like a chess move on D-line.
And my next level of understanding I just unlocked is that chess is all just permutations. It's all just math.
Yeah.
So you think like now I'm like studying all these religions, and I'm like, when you look at it, and I use like Taoism for example, and it's the study of the universe, and it's the study of numbers, and these groups of people have like based their life, like God has given us these numbers to study life. And I don't want to go far too on a tangent, but like everything is connected. Just how I say chess is connected to football, is connected to life. These numbers are connected to football, connected to life, and it's like the more you can dissect it and implement it and kind of cut off all the fat and figure out what you need to succeed in your own lane, the faster you can succeed.
Any thoughts on the game on Sunday, or is it something that you just kind of look at and go, I don't want to talk about it?
For me, I am a fan of greatness. I would love to see Saquon, get the MVP, the Super Bowl MVP of the league, and do all those great things. But then I'd also love to see the Chiefs go on a three-peat. And I really wouldn't love to see it. That's an exaggeration. I hate both teams. Wish they could both lose. but in the spirit of greatness, I would definitely love to see a great game and some great football being played.
You saw Saquon firsthand. I mean, obviously a teammate for 3 years or 2 years, I should say. What is it about Saquon that makes him so great in your mind?
Some people just have that, it factor. I think there are things that you can't teach. There are things that you can't coach, and I think he has that. I think, when he goes out there, there's certain things for him that clicks, and when you put that around other great players, you can see a lot of success. So super proud for him and super happy that he's able to play on the stage, knowing his career and the adversities he's went through.
Speaking of the Giants, what do you guys need to do to get to the next level?
I think I think they're going to attack speaking of like the GMs and things like that are going to attack the quarterback position and see who they can get, whether it be free agent or the draft. I think from a defense, we got to stop the run. I think I got to have the best career of my life up to this point, and I think we all just got to continue to chop wood and climb that mountain.
It's interesting. You hear that expression with so many guys, even in the CFL, chop wood. Got to keep chopping wood, just got to keep plugging away. And that's the thing. I mean, it's putting in the work. But, a lot of times I think as an athlete, and you probably know this as you turn pro, it's not like college where you can just simply dominate physically over a guy. When it gets to the pro, now all of a sudden you're both equal physically. Now it's like, okay, where am I getting that edge, right? Am I getting my edge in film work? Am I getting my edge in my physical conditioning? But to do all that, you got to pay attention to the details, right? You can't take shortcuts.
And the worst part about it? There's no right answer. So you could spend 50 hours on film, and that's not the right answer. You could spend 50 hours on your body, and it's not the right answer. But that's the beauty of it, is finding what works for you.
But it's the habits, right?
It's the habits.
Yes,
it's finding what works for you.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Exactly. And it's like you just got to keep going, and it's like you got to have faith, and it's like and that's why faith is so big in football, because there's no there's a playbook, but it only works if you believe. Everything we're doing, it only works if you believe. So
you make a great point. You're talking about a quarterback, and hey, I played a little football my day. Coach has been around it. And I think it just starts with your quarterback, man. If you got a guy that you believe in, that you're going, hey, this guy, we're in good shape. We've got a shot, or we're good. Not even that, but we're going to win this game. Yep. But if you don't have that guy under center making those plays, you feel like you almost have to play a perfect game to come out with a victory.
And if you're thinking that you got to play a perfect game, then you don't really believe.
Yeah, that's a great point. Before we let you go, what do you got planned for the rest of the week?
Rest of the week, man, we're just gonna do as much business as we can. It's a lot of people in Louisiana. It's a lot of money out here. It's a lot of opportunities, a lot of networking opportunities, a lot of media opportunities. So gonna take advantage of them. I'm flying back to Oregon actually for signing day, so that's gonna be dope.
Oh, cool.
And then I'll be back on Thursday. So super excited. Got to go see my alma mater. Got to go make sure that we get back in the big game.
It's crazy that we were talking about Oregon, and there's such a huge Oregon connection with the Canadian football league. Bo Lacumbo played for us. He played on that Oregon team that went up against Auburn and lost in the championship. Vernon Adams Jr. played there. Jeremiah Mazzoli, Jeremiah Johnson. We know LeGarrette Blunt's another guy.
Yeah.
And but with your years, there's a little bit of a window there where there's no connection that we really have. But it's a school that has so many CFL ties as well, and produced obviously so many great players in the NFL as well. So yeah, the Ducks. There's a few Duck fans in Vancouver. You got to come up to Vancouver, man.
I actually just went up to what is the big city that's above New York? Not Montreal. I just went to
Boston, Toronto.
No, Toronto.
Oh, you went to Toronto?
I was just in Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Toronto. It was actually really dope. Loved it. Kind of looked like New York, but really clean. It was dope.
Come to Vancouver. You think of Seattle? Vancouver's nicer than Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got mountains right on the water. You can go skiing. You can go out on the water. You can do whatever you want. It's beautiful. You got to come up there one day. And by the way, I got to get your guy Justin. We got to get you dialed in to City Cigar, and we got to get your cigars in Vancouver.
Come on.
We're going to do it.
All right.
Hey, by the way, what's all this talk about people in New York, you and the media? We get along great. You get along great with the media for crying out loud. Completely overblown.
Yeah,